What's up guys, my name is Brovex and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to remove dents from motorcycle gas tanks. The motorcycle tank that we'll be fixing today, as you can see, has two dents. One is a smaller one and the other one is quite big. So we're going to be going over two methods in this video. The first is going to utilize a dent removal tool, and in the second part we're going to be using some body filler. So for the majority of you guys, the dent removal tool will be sufficient enough to get the results you're looking for. But for dents that are in tough locations like near body lines or dents that are too big, you're going to have to utilize Bondo. So let's get started. So here's everything that's going to come in your dent puller kit, minus the hammer. I was accidentally sent a second kit, so I turned the two extra pullers into smaller ones. So the first thing you're going to do is lightly mark the center of the dent. This will help you place your puller. You're then going to get your hot glue gun and place a generous amount of hot glue onto the puller. A quick tip for you guys is to only plug your glue gun 2 minutes before you use it. This way the glue doesn't get too hot. When placing the puller, you want to gently press down onto the dent and hold it there for about 5 to 10 seconds. You're then going to let it sit for about 5 minutes. What you'll notice is that the glue goes from clear to this white color. That's how you know it's about ready. So once everything is dry, you're going to take your puller bridge and place it onto your puller. You're then going to take the screw and start screwing it in. As everything starts tightening, I want you to make sure that the tabs on the bridge itself are orientated so that the puller pulls straight up as opposed to pulling at an angle. As you guys might have noticed, there's some chips in the paint. This is because this bigger dent was deep, causing the metal to fold, which resulted in some of the paint cracking and chipping off. So you're now going to continue this process on both dents. I spent about 4 hours on this process, and I got to the point where the dent was no longer coming out, so I stopped. So here are the final results. As you can see, we definitely reduced the size of the dents, but they're still noticeable, and I think this is due to the fact that both the dents were so close to the curve of the motorcycle tank, which not only made it hard to position the bridge, but as we got closer and closer to that body line, the metal became more and more rigid. So now we're ready for the second part of the video, which will ensure that you completely remove the dents from your motorcycle tank. So here are the things you'll be needing for this part of the video. The main things being coarse, fine, and extra fine sandpaper. So to start off, what we're going to do is we're going to isolate both dents. We're going to do this by taping around them, leaving about a ½ inch gap in between the dent itself and the tape. So you're now going to take your coarse sandpaper. This is a 60 grit. Our goal is to bring down the paint to bare metal around the area we masked off. Now the reason we want to get down to bare metal is because body filler best adheres to this type of surface. So this is going to be a long and tedious process, so don't get discouraged. One thing I want to make you guys aware of is that as you get closer to bare metal, you'll notice that paint will remain inside the dents. To deal with these, all you have to do is reduce the size of your sanding paper and really work in those areas. So once you brought the dents to bare metal, what you're going to do is remove the tape and clean off the area. You're then going to remask the area, this time leaving about a ½ inch gap between the bare metal and the tape itself. You're now going to take your coarse sandpaper and scuff up the paint around your masked off area. The purpose of this step is to create about a 1 inch barrier around both dents, which will give you enough area to not only apply the body filler, but to also blend it in afterwards. So with that all done, you're now going to come up with a plan of how you're going to apply your body filler. I penciled in my two dents here, just to show you guys that I knew these were the two areas that I was going to have to build up the most. So with everything now cleaned off, you're ready to apply some body filler. To prepare the body filler, you need about a golf-sized ball of body filler to 1¼ inches of hardener. The blue tape on the plastic tray represents 1½ inches. You're now going to use your spreader to mix the hardener with the body filler until it's one uniform color. If you've never done this before, I recommend you practice at least once. Get some body filler and some hardener and get used to mixing it. This will also give you a good idea of how fast it cures. So now that we're ready to use some body filler, we're going to take a small amount into our spreader, and with some firm pressure we're going to go over one of the dents. The reason we're using firm pressure on this first pass is to make sure that the body filler gets into all the scratches we created with our sanding paper. So you're going to keep adding body filler onto that area, being aware of the shape of the tank. Don't be afraid if you add too much, because we can only sand it down. And if you add too little, you can always come back and add more later on. So once you've applied all your body filler, you're going to let it sit for about 45 minutes. You're then going to come up with a way of how you're going to sand everything down. I use the body line of the gas tank as my guide. I then masked everything off and I started with 80 grit sandpaper to blend in the body filler with the gas tank. Another tip I have for you guys is to sand in long strokes. This will allow you to better blend the body filler with the shape of the gas tank. So what I was noticing as I was sanding everything down is that I didn't build up enough body filler to create the curve of the motorcycle tank. So what I did was I blended everything in as best I could. I made sure there was no voids in the body filler. I cleaned everything up and I went for a second round of applying some more body filler. Using the same procedure as before, I first defined the body line of the motorcycle tank. Then I took my 80 grit sandpaper and started blending everything in. As you get closer to your finished product, what you want to do is switch to a finer sandpaper. In my case, I used 150 grit, and this really helped me blend in the body filler with the shape of the gas tank. So once you're happy with the shape of the gas tank, your final step is to prepare it for primer and paint. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your finest sandpaper, in this case it was 500 grit, sand down the whole gas tank, primer it, and paint it. For my specific situation, I'm only going to sand down and prime the area that I worked on, because I have another plan for painting this bike. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or want to see more videos like this, just leave it in the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer. This is BroX, thanks for watching.